Author's point of view. While. So who are we hiding from? Jimmy. My boss. He whispered back, seated under his desk. Vian rolled her eyes and played along. Vian. Why is she so scary? Jimin. Not really. She loses it if someone doesn't do their work. But she is so strong, hardworking, beautiful, bold, heart. Why? You are drooling, Mr. Park. Jimin paused and realized. A little too early. His eyebrows shot up in horror, and he turned around slowly. Vine stood behind him, arms crossed, her expression unreadable and cold like always. No one can tell what's going on in her mind. Jimin, what's up? He cursed himself internally. Could this be any more embarrassing? Jimin's cheeks flushed immediately while Vine just kept staring at him. She wasn't even surprised at his antics. He was under his desk, hiding from her, for God knows what reason. Her secretary was a big, goofy buffoon. She only tolerated him because he was hardworking and the best at his work. Yes, no other reason. Totally. Why? What is up with you, Mr. Park? I have been trying to call you for the last half an hour. Why are you hiding under your desk? Where is the file I asked you to complete? She inquired and he gulped. He slowly crawled out and stood up, dusting his clothes. Scratching his neck, he answered without meeting her eyes. Jimmy, Miss Kim, the file is not yet completed. I need a little time. Jimin's point of view. That's it. I'm going to be fired. You are such an idiot, Jimin. I berated myself, waiting for her to lash out. My hands went clammy as I held them together. Why? And what is the reason for your work not being completed on time? I stole a glance at her, and she stood the same, composed, confident, calm. Jimin. There was a medical emergency at home and I couldn't get the entire thing done. But I promise I'll finish it off today. Don't fire me, Miss Kim. I showed her my best puppy eyes after I finished, hoping she would show mercy. As far as I know, my boss is a short-tempered person and doesn't tolerate stupid mistakes. To my surprise, she excelled and just rolled her eyes at me, looking done. Is she going to throw me out of the office now? Why? I want the presentation ready for the next meeting. I know you can complete the file before the end of the day. Mr. Park, next time please try not to be so dramatic and respond to my calls. If we are late for the meeting, I'll not spare you. She uttered with a no-nonsense tone and walked out of my cabin. She didn't fire me. Hell yeah. I fist bumped the air and did a little moonwalk in my cabin. Guess my charms did work on her. Author's point of view. Kim Wine, CEO of Serene Skin, a well-known skincare brand. She has worked her ass off for years to get where she is now. Of course, success demands sacrifices, and she has sacrificed her teenage years, a chance to enjoy and live her 20s like any other person. They were only filled with the sleepless nights and countless hours of work and studies, determination and hope. And now she is living her dream. Park Jimin works as a secretary in Serene Skincare, a goofy ball of sunshine, has the heart of an angel and the smile of a fairy. Extremely talented and hardworking. He has been working with Vian for years. When her company was just a small startup, he has seen her grow, has grown with her and supported her. Not to mention, he is in love with his not so scary boss. Initially, he had been quiet about his feelings, but as time passed by, he started trying to charm his way into her heart with his flirting. buffoonish acts in Vian's eyes. Will he succeed in doing so? Vian's point of view. Where did I keep it? Oh heavens, not now. When I'm already cramped with work, my head is already killing me, and the stupid file has somehow magically disappeared when I needed it the most. I sighed, pinching the bridge of my nose, and sat down on my chair. I massaged my temple, taking a few deep breaths to calm myself down, but nothing worked. Just then, a mug was placed in front of me on my desk. Coffee. Oh, how desperately I needed it. I craned my neck and wasn't surprised to see Jeevan staring down at me with his ever so angelic smile. Jimin, you don't look so fine. What's got you so worked up? I blinked, trying to find how could he read me when I didn't let anything show on my face ever. Of course, I didn't get the answer and concluded he must know magic. Again, like always, I cleared my throat and stride straight. Why? Thank you for the coffee, Mr. Park. I'm not worked up, I'm just not able to find the account's record file. That's it. Jimin, I'll find it. Have the coffee and rest for a bit. You need it, Miss Kim. I didn't protest because, as sweet as he was stubborn too. Won't listen to me if I have to stop him. So I just picked up the mug and took a sip, immediately sighing at the strong bittersweet taste of the freshly brewed coffee. Just how I like it. Am I ever going to tell him he makes the best coffee in the world? Probably not. Jimin, here is the file. It was on the top shelf. I took the file from him, a little stunned. Why? I had searched the top shelf thrice, but it wasn't there. How did you find it so quickly? He just smiled at me, taking the empty coffee mug. From where does he bring all those files? Each one warmer than the last. Jimin, it was right there. Stress can make the simplest task complicated. You work too hard. Let yourself loose sometimes. It won't cause any harm. Trust me. Or your face would get all wrinkly quick. But I think you would still look beautiful as ever, Miss King. He winked and quickly walked out of my cabin, giggling mischievously before I could process his words. My lips twitched and I could feel my cheeks burning. That cheeky brat. I shook my head and tried to focus on the work. Unfortunately, only his giggles echoed in my ears, and my mind was filled with images of his smiles, which made his eyes turn crescent. Author's point of view. Growing up, Mayan had always been the responsible major daughter in her household, perks of being the eldest, the therapist of the mother, the second parent to siblings, the shoulder for the father's burdens. She always checks up on everyone, makes sure everyone has everything. But who checks up on her? No one. That's why she learns to be independent, handle everything alone. That's how Ian is too, the daughter who grew up too soon. Since Jimin had entered her life, it has been turned upside down, in a good way. He had been the best secretary she could ask for, but not only that, he had been a silent supporter and her friend too, when the nights were too hot. He silently stayed with her, never leaving her alone to overwork. His smiles and quiet actions of care always made her day. Her walls were crumbling down slowly, but sometimes her fears held her back from enjoying her life fully. He understood in her way she thought no one could. Even so, showing vulnerabilities had always been hard for her. Hence, she always held back from giving in. Jimin's point of view. Jimin, good morning, Miss Gorgeous Wine. I grinned, placing the coffee mug on her desk, and my smile widened when I saw her smile. It was small, but the pretty dimple peeking out on her cheek made it worth it. Wine. Morning, Mr. Park. Gorgeous, huh? Why do you add different adjectives every day with the greeting? She asked the same question every day, and I had the same answer. I scratched my head and answered her with a bashful smile. Jimmy. Well, 'cause they do define you and using the same one would get boring, no? Why? Same answer again. I wonder where you even bring a new one every day from. She chuckled, shaking her head, and I swear I could feel my heart running a marathon. She looked so pure while laughing like that. It made my breath catch in my throat. I want to protect that smell forever. Jimin, you look mesmerizing while smiling my skin. You should smile more often. I uttered before I could stop myself. She stopped and cleared her throat. I could see a faint blush on her cheeks, and I bit my lips to keep myself from smiling hard. She looked so cute. Ryan, let's get to work. We have an important meeting to attend today. She cleared her throat and buried herself in her computer. I pouted. She always shut down like this. I shook my head and didn't let myself be demotivated. I swear I will make you come out of your shell, came Ryan. I nodded at her and got myself to work. Time skip. I followed Ryan into the conference room with a file and my laptop in my hand. Her aura radiated confidence and power as she walked over Miss Williams with a straight face. If it wasn't for the meeting, I would have just taken a seat to ogle over her. Focus, Jimmy, focus. I took my seat beside Ryan and the meeting started. Our team started with the presentation and the atmosphere turned focused and serious as I too focused on my part, excluding the few times I couldn't help but stare at my boss. Miss Williams, Miss Kim, I was impressed by your presentation, but I want to go over the company's sale before making a final decision. Miss Williams exclaimed after the presentation, while nodded with a professional smile. Why, of course, Miss Williams. She signaled to Mr. Lim, who connected his laptop to the projector, only for the screen to remain blank. I walked over to him and took a look at the laptop. Jimin, Mr. Lim, did you misplace the USB? We reviewed this yesterday. What happened? Mr. Lim looked horrified. Mr. Lim, I don't know, Mr. Park. What should I do? Ma'am will be furious. I sighed. Jimin, we can't afford this mistake. You should have been more careful. I walked toward Ryan and leaned into her, whispering, Jimin, Mr. Lim misplaced the USB and there is no backup, but we can refer to hard copies and use charts. She nodded, her gaze fixed sternly on Mr. Lim. Despite the chaos, I managed to present the sales information and thankfully Miss Williams was satisfied. The deal was sealed, yet Ryan was not going to let the blunder slip. Ryan, Mr. Lim, this is the third time you have made such a mistake. What am I supposed to do with you? Mr. Lim looked down. Mr. Lim, I'm sorry. Ryan, don't apologize. If it weren't for your contribution to the company over the years, I would have fired you. Mr. Lim bowed, looking grateful. Ryan, you'll work overtime this week and I'm deducting 3% from your salary. Mr. Lim looked at her in horror, but he couldn't complain. He bowed for the last time and left, visibly shaken, while Ryan exhaled and massaged her temples. I quietly walked out of her cabin and returned with a steaming hot cup of freshly brewed coffee, just how she likes it. Keeping the cup on her desk, I walked toward Ryan, who now stood in front of the huge glass window of her office. Her face was blank, but I could still feel she was frustrated. The little furrow of her brows and slight clench of her jaw gave it away. I cleared my throat, standing beside her. She was staring outside, zoned out. Jimin, they say anger is not good for the heart and the skin. The deal is done. You even made Mr. Lim compensate for his mistake. Instead of focusing on what ifs, Ryan, shut it, Mr. Park. She suddenly snapped, turning around. I paused, blinking in confusion. She has never reacted like this before. Jimmy, I was just trying to. Ryan, did I ask you to do so? Keep it professional, will you? What I feel, how I feel, my mood, etc. is none of your business. Don't you understand? You're just my secretary and work with me. Act like it. Stop acting so casual like you know me personally. Ouch, that hurt. She walked past me to her desk and sat down, drowning herself in thought. I took a deep breath to keep my voice stable and bowed at her. Jimin, I understand, ma'am. I won't give you a chance to complain again. With that, I walked out of her cabin. I scoffed at my stupid delusional assumptions, thinking she would open up to me someday and realize there was something between us, more than a work relationship. Heck, she sees me only as her secretary, nothing else. I should have realized it sooner, not now. I walked into the men's washroom and immediately strode toward the wash basin, splashing cold water on my face. I looked up in the mirror. A mess. Heartbroken mess. Disheveled hair, red rimmed eyes. This wasn't me. This was the Jimin who was deeply in love with his boss for the last 4 years, who just realized his place now in her life. Am I ever going to move on from her? Author's point of view. The next day, Ryan sat working, expecting Jimin to burst into the cabin with his cheerful smile and a coffee any moment. She wouldn't admit, but she secretly cherished his sweet morning greetings. A sudden knock on the door made Ryan come out of her reverie. She answered with a comment, and a peon walked in with a coffee in his hands. He placed the coffee while greeting her, and she just stared, a little confused. Ryan, Mr. Park didn't bring the coffee today. Usually he insists on bringing himself. No? Peon. Sir is in his cabin working now. I didn't see him bringing a coffee for you today, so I brought it myself. She nodded, taking the mug, and the peon left after bowing. Jimin didn't come to give her coffee or greet her. Strange. She took a sip of the coffee and sighed. It didn't taste like the usual. The coffee was good, but she was so used to drinking the coffee made by Jimin, this one didn't appease her. It didn't give her the usual burst of energy she gets when she drinks his handmade coffee. She buried herself in work, trying to distract herself from his unusual behavior. Time skipped, hours passed, and Ryan finally paused working. Her stomach growled, and she glanced at the time. 1:17 p.m. It was lunchtime. She was so engrossed in her work that she didn't realize it, like always. It would be Jimin usually stopping her from working at 1 p.m. sharp to have lunch. He never failed to take care of her. She still couldn't understand what made him avoid her today. She hadn't gotten a glimpse of him since morning. Stretching her limbs, she got up and walked out of her cabin. Nodding at the staff who greeted her on the way, she walked toward Jimin's cabin. It was empty. He must be in the cafeteria. Don't ask her how does she know. She maybe keeps track of his whereabouts. Who knows? She went there to come across the sight of Jimin laughing along with his colleagues as he ate with them. Her heart settled seeing his eyes smile. She had been craving to see since morning without realizing. But why hadn't he talked with her even once since morning? Yoonji, you are so funny, Jimin. She chuckled, slapping his shoulder lightly, and Jimin just waved her off with a smile. His ears turned red at the compliment, and the rest of them teased him. Vian's fists clenched at her side, witnessing the scene in front of her. Why did she wish to yank Yoonji's hands off him? Seriously, why was she even touching him? Clearing her throat, she walked toward the group, and the laughter immediately died. They straightened up and bowed, greeting her. She nodded at them, her eyes fixed on Jimin, who didn't even spare her glance at her. That frustrated her. If you guys are done with lunch, I expect you all to be working instead of wasting time doing nothing. This isn't a school to enjoy recess like kids and joke around. She uttered sternly, and everyone responded with yes, ma'am, in unison. Jimin, still not looking at her, pissed her off for some reason she couldn't name. Ryan, Mr. Park, I want you in my cabin within 10 minutes. Jimin, yes, ma'am. Ma'am? He usually called her Miss Ryan. What was going on? She was going to find it out. Nodding her head at everyone, she walked away to her cabin. Her appetite was already lost seeing Yunji laughing with Jim. Why did it affect her so much? Jimin was in her cabin within 10 minutes. He stood quietly waiting for her to say something while she just stared at him. Ryan, looks like Yunji and you are pretty close. That came out of nowhere. Jimin was surprised for a moment, but he didn't let it show. He kept his face neutral and replied in a monotone. Jimin, it's about my personal life and I'm not a child to answer that, ma'am. She just nodded, her jaw clenching slightly. Why? Yeah, right. Well, you can answer this then. Why didn't you bring coffee today? You didn't even come during lunch. You usually do that. Why the sudden change? She stood in front of him, staring up at him with a stern gaze. He was fairly taller than her, yet she intimidated him sometimes. Her breath caught in her throat as she got a faint smell of his scent, lilies and something spicy. It always dizzied her. Keeping her face composed, she waited for his answer. Jimin, why should I, ma'am? It's not my work to do so. I should only be concerned about the task you haven't given me. Why? Didn't you used to do it before? Jimin, yes, but not anymore. I realized my boundaries as you made it very clear yesterday. Now, if there is no work for me, I'll take my leave. I have files to complete, ma'am. She stared at him as he bowed and left. Yesterday's scenes flashed in front of her eyes, and she cursed at herself for snapping at him like that. She was blinded by her frustration and worries that she didn't realize she had hurt him so badly. But why did his silence affect her so much? He was just her secretary, no? Why she cared so much about him and his opinions? His one smile lights up her day like nothing else. She secretly always cherished his morning greetings, his flirty pickup lines, his buffoonish acts. She wanted her goofy sunshine Jimin back. Not this Jimin who avoided her presence like danger and didn't even spare a glance at her. Did she just call him hers? Oh, yes, she did. There was no denying it now. She's not going to deny her feelings anymore. She's not going to let go of the only person who makes her happy, who just lets her be. All her life she has compromised her happiness. Now she is not going to let go the only person who has taught her to live life. I'm going to apologize and make him talk to me like before. She cracked her neck with determination. Wine. How hard it can be. Wine. Oh, definitely hard. She mumbled to herself as she saw Jimin chatting and laughing with Yunji. The paper cup in her hand was now thrashed without her realizing. It's been more than a week since she has been trying to apologize and make Jimin talk to her like before. But all her efforts seemed to go in vain because he wouldn't budge. She can't complain though. She called it upon herself. She should have controlled her tongue. Ryan, good morning, Jimin. Jimin looked up from the computer, startled to see a smiling Ryan in his cabin early in the morning. Was he dreaming? His stone-faced boss was smiling, cheerfully greeting him. She placed a coffee cup in front of him and gestured for him to have it. He bowed his head slightly and took it. He was sure by now that he was hallucinating. No, really, what was up with her? He took a sip and his eyes rolled back in a bliss. Never knew his boss made such amazing coffee. He bit back a small smile and looked up at her. Why? Did you like it? It's not too sweet, right? Jimin, thank you for this, ma'am, but you didn't have to. He gave her a neutral response, and her face fell a little in disappointment. A tiny, almost invisible pout graced her lips, and he wanted to go out loud at it. Don't melt, Jimin, don't melt. Too soon. Ryan, don't worry about it. See you at lunch. She gave him the same smile and walked out of his cabin. When it was lunch time, she came with the same cheerful smile with lunch in her hands to have it with him. He didn't show it, but he liked this new change in her. She was trying to be more expressive and cheerful for him. She even tried to bring up that day's topic to apologize, but he smartly dodged it, not wanting to give in so soon. Let her grovel a bit. Over the last few days, it looked like the personalities had been interchanged. She was cheerful, goofy with him, and he was behaving coldly with her. Oh, how the tables had turned. Wine flared her nostrils, wanting to yank Yunji away from him. But of course, she couldn't do that. Jealousy is a disease, they say, and she agrees. Shaking her head, she strode toward the women's washroom. She washed her face with cold water, trying to cool her head, when she heard Jimin's name, and her ears perked up. Good one. Oh my god, I just got to know Yunji has asked Jimin out on a date. And he had said yes. One girl muttered with enthusiasm, and Van's jaw dropped in disbelief. Date. A date? Girl 2. Really? Wow. Good for them. They would look so cute together. Cute my ass. How the hell they are even shipping her with him? The girls giggled, exiting the washroom, and Van stood there, processing what she had just heard. Why? He said yes. Seriously? No, 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 no. Park Jimin, no. I ain't sitting quiet now. She huffed and walked out of the washroom. All the while, back to her cabin, she couldn't help but throw daggers with her eyes toward Yunji. Jimin had caught on to her reaction, and a satisfied smirk appeared on his lips as he saw her storm toward her cabin like an angry dinosaur. A 5 foot 3 inch dinosaur. Van's point of view. Getting out of the car, I locked it and strode toward the restaurant. It was a cozy place. Romantic and all, huh? I huffed and glanced around to find the person I was here for. My eyes stopped at a pair sitting at the far corner of the restaurant. There he was, Park Jimin, the man who has messed up with my heart and mind over the past few days, has my soul captured for the last 3 years, and I wasn't going to let him go. No one can separate me from him. No one. He smiled at something the girl sitting in front of him said. I'm about to ruin a date, which is supposedly going good. What was her name again? Ah, Yunji, right? Whatever. I rolled my eyes and strode toward them and stopped right in front of their table. Jimin stared up at me in surprise and confusion. His Bambi eyes widened like saucers. Yunji craned her neck and looked at me in equal shock. She stood up and bowed to greet me. Yunji. Oh, hello, ma'am. What a surprise to see you here. She smiled at me and I just nodded my head at her. Now or never, Ryan. Wine. Looks like you're on a date, Miss Yunji. At that, she just nodded, tucking her hair behind her ear with a bashful smile. Ugh, the urge to roll my eyes was hard to ignore. She's a nice girl, but right now I don't care about that. Ryan. Perhaps with the wrong person, Miss Yunji. You shouldn't be with Mr. Park. Yunji. What do you mean, ma'am? It's my personal life. How does it matter to you? Jimin just kept staring in confusion and I tried to find the right words because I didn't want to create a scene here. Ryan. It does concern me because. Yunji. Because? Ryan. I'm pregnant. Jimin is the father of my child, so you shouldn't be with him. I blurted out without thinking and Jimin choked on it. Yunji's jaw dropped as she stared at me and Jimin. Yunji. What the hell? Yunji. What are you saying? Jimin. Is this true? Ryan. Yes, it is. Now, if you please excuse us, we need to leave. I gave her a sweet smile, which she must have seen for the first time, took Jimin's hand, and left the restaurant. Yunji couldn't utter a word as she watched us leave the restaurant in shock and disbelief. Both mine and Jimin's ears were flushed red because of my stupid announcement, which wasn't even true. Really, Ryan? Pregnant? Could I have been any more stupid and absurd? I led him to my car and he sat inside without questioning. Good for me. I got into the driver's seat and drove away. I didn't know where I was going, but I just needed to get away from here first. Jimin, stop the car. I pressed the brakes and the car came to a halt with a screech. I turned my head toward him to ask why he had yelled suddenly, but he was already out of the car. I got out too, and the fresh night breeze hit my senses, making me take a deep breath. We were near a beach. It looked pretty, there were hardly people around. Good for me. I can talk to him without any disturbance now. I walked over to the other side and stood beside him. He exhaled, pinching the bridge of his nose, and faced me with his arms crossed. I copied his pose and stared back into his eyes, trying not to stare at his biceps, which were so deliciously outlined in the light blue shirt he was wearing. Jimin, what was that? Wine. What was what? Jimin. Seriously, are you going to behave so unbothered now? Me being on a date with Yunji was none of your business. Yet you show up and announce that you are pregnant with my child? Seriously? Are you okay, ma'am? He emphasized the word man and took a step forward with each sentence, making me walk back. It was my first time seeing him frustrated. He looked hot. Focus, Wine. I flared my nostrils and glared back at him. Wine. Oh, it is my business, Mr. Park. Anything related to you is my business. Do you hear me? I walked ahead with each word and trapped him against my car. It was a little comical considering our height difference, but we were focused on the conversation instead of that. His cheeks flushed, but he rolled his eyes at me and spoke with sarcasm laced in his tone. Jimin, aren't you being so casual with me, ma'am? You're my boss. Act like it. Keep it professional, will you? I'm just your secretary, ain't I? Wine. Screw the professionalism. Screw this boss employee relationship. Screw me for hurting you. I'm so sorry for snapping at you like that. I let the frustration and worries get the best of me and lashed out on you. I was an idiot to behave like that. Wine. You are anything but just a secretary to me. You have been my support, my friend, my anchor during my hard times. I love you so much. Call me an idiot, but I can't see you with anyone else. You have taught me to live life. You understand me like no one, and I'm not letting you go. My voice softened at the end, and I could see surprise flickering in his eyes. The way his Bambi eyes widened made me smile. Jimin, what? He whispered in disbelief, and I tiptoed, leaning close to him. Why? I said I love you, barked Jimin. So anything related to you is my business. Yeah? I have kept my patience and not fired Yunji. You better not do something like this again. You are mine. Heart, mind, body, and soul. The same way you have captured mine. His jaw dropped, and I didn't give him a chance to speak as I brushed my lips against his in a soft peck. Leaning back, I placed my hand on his throat, ever so lightly, tightening my hold just enough for him to feel it. My nails brushed against his neck, and I could feel him gulping. His breaths were labored, and a faint grunt left his lips as I placed a wet kiss on his neck, soft enough to let him feel the warmth, deep enough to leave a mark. I smirked, seeing a faint red bruise forming on his delicate white skin. Why, there, I marked you. With that, I moved back, and he looked at me with hooded eyes, betrayal written clearly on his face. I smirked a little, and he chuckled in disbelief. But the next second, a gasp left my lips as he pulled me into his arms. Jimin, you would need to control your anger a bit, yeah? And I love you too. This feels like a dream come true. He giggled at the end, making me laugh along with him as I hugged him back. Wine, yes, I will. Go on a date with me, Jimin. Sure, my baby's mama. Wine, hey. I smacked his chest, hiding my face in embarrassment. He just laughed, and I promised myself to forever protect his smile, to forever cherish this man whom I loved so much.